Hello student, welcome to the lecture on population, distribution, density, growth and composition. And after this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Describe the distribution of population, define the growth of population, explain the regional variations in population growth, define the population composition and describe the migration and consequences of migration. Distribution of population. Let us discuss about the distribution of population. India is the second most populous country after China in the world with its total population of 1028 million. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America and Australia put together. It is clear that India has a highly uneven pattern of population distribution. The percentage share of population of the states and union territories in the country show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population, followed by Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh. Check from the figure given above that UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh along with Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Gujarat together account for about 76% of the total population of the country. On the other hand, share of population is very small in the states like Jammu and Kashmir 0.98%, Arunachal Pradesh 0.11% and Uttaranchal 0.83% in spite of these states having fairly large geographical area. Such an uneven spat-tailed distribution of population in India suggests a close relationship between population and physical, socio-economic and historical factors. Density of population is expressed as number of person per unit area. It helps in getting a better understanding of the spatial distribution of population in relation to land. The density of population in India 2001 is 313 persons per square kilometer and ranks third among the most densely populated countries of Asia, following Bangladesh 849 persons and Japan 334 persons. There has been a steady increase of about 200% per square kilometer over the last 50 years as the density of population increased from 117 persons square kilometer in 1951 to 313 persons square kilometer in 2001. The density of population is a crude measure of human and land relationship. To get a better insight into the human-land ratio in terms of pressure of population on total cultivable land, the physiological and the agriculture densities should be found out, which are significant for a country like India having a large agricultural population. Growth of population. Growth of population is a change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time. Its rate is expressed in percentage. Population growth has two components, namely natural and induced. While the natural growth is analyzed by assessing the crude birth and death rates, the induced components are explained by the volume of inward and outward movement of people in any given area. Migration is a reference to a response to the uneven distribution of opportunities over space. The period from 1901 to 1921 is referred to as a period of stagnant or stationary phase of growth of India's population, since in this period growth rate was very low, even recording a negative growth rate during 1911 to 1921. Both the birth rate and death rate were high, keeping the rate of increase low. Poor health and medical services, illiteracy of people at large and inefficient distribution system of food and other basic necessities were largely responsible for a high birth and death rate in this period. The decades of 1921 to 1951 are referred to as a period of steady population growth and overall improvement in health and sanitation throughout the country brought down the mortality rate. At the same time, better transport and communication system improved distribution system. The decades 1951 to 1981 are referred to as a period of population explosion in India, which was caused by a rapid fall in the mortality rate but a high fertility rate of population in the country. The average annual growth rate was as high as 2.2%. In this period after the independence, that development activities were introduced through a centralized planning process, and economies started showing up, ensuring the improving of living condition of people at large. In the post-1981 till present, the growth rate of country's population, though remain high, has started slowing down gradually. A downward trend of crude birth rate is held responsible for such a population growth. This was in turn affected by an increase in the mean age at marriage, improved quality of life, particularly education of females in the country. Regional variation in population growth. The growth rate of population during 1991 to 2001 in Indian states and union territories shows very obvious pattern. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Pondicherry and Goa show a low rate of growth not exceeding 20% over the decade. Kerala registered the lowest growth rate, 9.4, not only in this group of states but also in the country as a whole. A continuous belt of states from west to east in the northwest, north and north central parts of the country has relatively high growth rate than the southern states. An important aspect of population growth in India is the growth of its adolescent. At present, the share of adolescent that is up to the age group of 10 to 19 years is about 22% 2001. It appears from the discussion that the growth rate of population is widely varies over space and time in the country and also highlights various social problems related to the growth of population. However, in order to have a better insight into the growth pattern of population, it is also necessary to look into the social composition of population. Population composition. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, place of residence, ethnic characteristic, tribes, language, religion, marital status, literacy and education, occupational characteristic, etc. The composition of Indian population with respect to their rural-urban characteristic, language, religion and pattern of occupation. Composition of population by their respective places of residence is an important indicator of social and economic characteristic. This becomes even more significant for a country where about 72% of its total population lives in villages. The distribution of rural population is not uniform throughout the country. You might have noted that the states like Bihar and Sikkim have very high percentage of rural population. The state of Goa and Maharashtra have only little over half of their total population residing in villages. The Union territories, on the other hand, have smaller portion of rural population, except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, 77.1%. The size of villages also varies considerably. It is less than 200% in the hill states of northeastern India, western Rajasthan and Rann of Kutch, and as high as 17,000% in the states of Kerala and in parts of Maharashtra. The rural-urban migration is conspicuous in the case of urban areas along the main road links and railroads in the North Indian plains, the industrial areas around Kolkata, Mumbai, Bangalore, Mysore, Madurai, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi, Kanpur, and Ludhiana, Jalandhar. In the agricultural stagnant parts of the middle and lower Ganga plains, Telangana, non-irrigated western Rajasthan, remote hilly tribal areas of northeast, along the flood-prone areas of peninsular India and along eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, the degree of urbanization has remained low. India is a land of linguistic diversity. According to Grierson, Linguistic Survey of India 1903 to 1928, there were 179 languages and as many as 544 dialects in the country. In the context of modern India, there are about 18 scheduled languages, 1991 census, and a number of non-scheduled languages. The speakers of major Indian languages belong to 4 language families which have their subfamilies and branches or groups. Religion is one of the most dominant forces affecting the cultural and political life of the most of Indians. Since religion virtually permeates into almost all the aspects of people's family and community lives, the spatial distribution of religious communities in the country shows that there are certain states and districts having large numerical strength of one religion, while the same may be very negligibly represented in other states. Hindus are distributed as a major group in many states ranging from 70 to 90% and above, except the district of states along Indo-Bangladesh border, Indo-Pak border, Jammu and Kashmir hill states of northeast and scattered areas of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plateau. Jains have major concentration in the urban areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra, while the Buddhists are concentrated mostly in Maharashtra. It is observed that in India, the proportion of workers, both main and marginal, is only 39% 2001, leaving a vast majority of 61% as non-workers. This indicates an economic status in which there is a large proportion of dependent population, further indicating possible existence of large number of unemployed or underemployed people. Migration. You are familiar with census in India. It contains information about migration in the country. Actually, migration was recorded beginning from the first census of India conducted in 1881. This data were recorded on the basis of place of birth. However, the first major modification was introduced in 1961 census by bringing in two additional components via place of birth, that is village or town, and duration of residence. If no, then further information is taken on rural or urban status of the place of birth, name of district and state, and if outside India, the name of the country of birth. If yes, then further questions are asked about the status, rural or urban, of previous place of residence, name of district and state, and if outside India, the name of the country. Reason for migration from the place of last residence and duration of residence and place of enumeration are also asked. In the census of India, migration is enumerated on two bases. Place of birth. If the place of birth is different from the place of enumeration, known as lifetime migrate. Place of residence. If the place of last resident is different from the place of enumeration, known as migrant by place of last resident. Can you imagine the proportion of migrants in the population of India? As per 2001 census, out of 1,029 million people in the country, 307 million, 30% were reported as migrant by place of birth. However, this figure was 315 million, 31% in case of place of last resident. During colonial period, British period, millions of the indentured laborers were sent to Mauritius, Caribbean islands, Trinidad, Tobago and Guyana, Fiji and South Africa by British, from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar to Reunion Island, Guadeloupe, Martinique and Suriname by French and Dutch, and by Portuguese from Goa, Tamandu to Angola, Mozambique to work as plantation workers. All such migrations were covered under the time-bound contract known as Gurmat Act, Indian Immigration Act. After liberalization in the 90s, education and knowledge-based Indian immigration has made Indian diaspora one of the most powerful diasporas in the world. A few facts pertaining to the internal migration within the country and international migration out of the country and into the country from other countries are presented here. Under the internal migration, four streams are identified: rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to urban, and urban to rural. In India, during 2001, out of 315 million migrants enumerated on the basis of the last resident, 98 million had changed their place of residence in the last 10 years. Out of these, 81 million were intrastate migrants. The stream was dominated by female migrants. Most of these were migrants related to marriage. The distribution of male and female migrants in different streams of intrastate and interstate migration. There could be a variety of reasons for migration. Push factor. These cause people to leave their place of residence or origin, and pull factors, which attract the people from different places. In India, people migrate from rural to urban areas mainly due to poverty, lack of basic infrastructure facilities like healthcare, education, etc. Apart from these factors, natural disasters such as flood, drought, cyclonic storms, earthquake, tsunami, wars and local conflict also give extra push to migrate. Despite the relevance of non-economic factors, most of the studies indicate that migration is primarily motivated by economic factors. In large number of developing countries, low agriculture income, agriculture and employment, and underdevelopment are considered basic factors pushing the migrants towards a prosperous or dynamic areas with greater job opportunities. The differences in the rates of population increase between the different regions of a nation have been found to be a determinant in the internal migration. Fertility and the natural increase in population are generally higher in rural areas, which drift the rural population towards the city. Other important demographic factor in internal migration is marriage. Social and cultural factors also play an important role in migration. Sometimes family conflicts, the quest for independence also cause migration, especially of those in the younger generation. Improved communication facilities such as transportation, impact of the television, the cinema, the urban-oriented education and resultant change in attitudes and values also promote migration. Sometimes even political factors encourage or discourage migration from region to another. For instance, in India, the reservation of the jobs for sons of the soil policy by the state governments will certainly discourage the migration from other states. A number of other factors such as the presence of relatives and friends in urban areas who mostly provide help, desire to receive education which is available only in urban areas are factors responsible for migration. Migration is considerably influenced by factors such as the closeness of cultural contracts, cultural diversity, etc. Consequences of migration. Migration is a response to the uneven distribution of opportunities over place. People tend to move from place of low opportunity and low safety to the place of high opportunity and better safety. This in turn creates both benefits and problems for the areas people migrate from and migrate to. Consequences can be observed in economic, social, cultural, political and demographic terms. A major benefit for the source region is the remittance sent by migrants. Remittances from the international migrants are one of the major sources of foreign exchange. In 2002, India received US $11 billion as remittances from international migrants. It plays an important role in the growth of economy of the source area. Migration leads to the redistribution of the population within a country. Urban migration is one of the important factors contributing to the population growth of cities. Migrants act as agent of social change. Migration leads to intermixing of people from diverse cultures. It has positive contributions such as elevation of composite culture and breaking through the narrow consideration and widens up the mental horizon of the people at large. Overcrowding of people due to rural migration has put pressure on the existing social and physical infrastructure in the urban areas. This ultimately leads to unplanned growth of urban settlement and formation of slum shanty colonies. Apart from this, due to overexploitation of natural resources, cities are facing the acute problem of depletion of groundwater, air pollution and disposal of sewage and management of solid waste. Summary. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. India has a highly uneven pattern of population distribution. The percentage share of population of the states and union territories in the country show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population, followed by Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh. Growth of population is the change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time. The growth rate of population during 1991 to 2001 in Indian states and union territories show very obvious pattern. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Pondicherry and Goa show a low rate of growth not exceeding 20% over the decade. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, place of residence, ethnic characteristic, tribes, language, religion, marital status, literacy and education, occupational characteristic, etc. Census in India contains information about migration in the country. Migration was recorded beginning from the first census of India conducted in 1881. Migration is a response to the uneven distribution of opportunities over space.